So I thought I'll show all of you who could not make it to the exhibition a little bit of how the exhibition looks. Today is the last day, so this is the closing. Lot of silence now. We had a full day. Thank you to everyone who made it, who traveled from faraway places, made the time to see art and stayed back and had these conversations and shared some of their own personal observations about the work, their own memories, their life. So very, very grateful towards all who came and made this exhibition truly a memorable memory for me. And so thank you so much. Thank you to everyone. And I'm going to give you guys a quick tour of the exhibition now for people who could not make it here. This painting is titled Rain Within. You're inside the womb, experiencing the rain for the first time. And you perceive that as music. You have not seen it yet. It's only when you're born in the world outside you will get to see it for the first time. It's the soul moving towards the source. All the mother elephants who have these pranic lotuses, the flowers, which are making the air move in and out, all the wind currents, and all the other ways of how energy shifts and flows in the world. They are the knowers of that, the world mothers. So all of this work is part of an insane attempt to first offering is called the Hymns of Medhini. This is the earth which is surrounded by an eternal sea, inside of which are many suns, and our characters are on a pursuit, on a journey to wake up the sun, which will begin the creation again. This is one of the works here. Title of the show, and let me read a little bit of this excerpt. The hymns of Medhini are drawn meditations about an ancient earth. It's a unique mythological universe with its own folklore, where many stars are submerged in its eternal waters, waiting to be invoked. A metaphor for our amniotic memories, rekindling our bond with the earth. It's very much inspired by my time in the mountains and with the elephants. And without them, I would not have understood and would not have received these stories and visions. It's an immersive journey, both playful and profound, into its spiritual atmosphere. So the idea to create a new mythology, that in itself is a long conversation. I'll save it for some other time. But the essence of that intention is to create a narrative space with which we can connect back to things which we are yearning for in our time and space, but are becoming difficult to access, especially in an excessive technological world which has shaped our lives in both profound and interesting ways and excessive, indulgent ways. It's created virtual walls. And even though there's a deeper desire to reconnect with our own psyche and with our own dreams, with nature, one has to now deliberately break these walls, these virtual walls. Buying a car, so now you have to make time to walk. This is creation, which is like a wave in the expanse of a kalpa in a much larger time and space. These are your star travelers, people in this universe who have, meditators of the universe who have learned the art of rekindling the sun within. There will be a book eventually at some point gathering all these stories and visuals. And I hope that proves to be a more immersive experience of this world. Right now I'm just going to show you quick glimpses of these paintings. So Medhini is an ancient earth which is submerged in a sea, an ocean. But there's no difference between this sea and the cosmic waters. It's one big eternal sea, the earth, this ancient earth is enveloped in. And all our characters who are traversing and traveling to find the sun they would like to wake up so creation can start again, have their hearts open, and it's the light of the heart which becomes the guiding light in this world. But you have to listen to that light and find your own light and move further into the journey. The story is also a deeper contemplation about how the darkness of the womb is different from the darkness of the world. The darkness of the womb brings us closer to our dreaming self, brings us closer to our psyche, to listening. And the darkness of the world, it doesn't even come around as darkness, and it takes us away from the same attributes. And now when we become part of the world we are in now, this disconnection sparks this seeking or a yearning to move back into that intuitive space. So the story delves deeply into this exploration of understanding how the darkness of the world eludes us and disconnects us, and how through that labyrinth, which is disguised with all kinds of things, you move back into the motherly, the nurturing darkness of the womb, getting rid of your cognitive biases, getting back with your dreaming self, getting connected back with your intuition, deepening your experience of this existence. Some of them have these lotuses on the back that how some of the burdens you carry in life, they can unravel into lessons, and the illumination of wisdom will come out of it. The little elephant learns from the mother tortoise, the world mother, and then teaches her children. It's like in life we have many teachers. They may not just be our family. They may be things which we have experienced in life, like loss or a moment of happiness, or maybe some stranger. So the characters in this world are learning from all kinds of guardians, are learning from all kinds of wisdom keepers. This is the tree of the 14 suns and 1,000 eyes. And the guardian is this tiger telling the little elephant, which is asking that how would she know which sun to wake up? And the tiger tells her, the sun which you should wake up should be the sun which has an intent to create. And then he tells her all the stories which this tree has absorbed of 14 times the creation came to be and has gone, the stories of the Laya and the Pralaya. These are all the suns which are submerged in this amniotic ocean. Another world tree, the tree of many chakras, energy system, the wise trees. I've tried to incorporate a lot of yogic symbology onto elements of nature. And here itself, you have the tiger yogi. Why there are trees coming out of his head? In our reality, we are separate from the tree, but at a biological reality, we are connected by oxygen and carbon dioxide. Also, we are actually integrated into the fabric of nature, but we don't feel it or perceive it in our reality. So this picture, when you put it in a picture, this inseparability, this indivisibility, that you are part of nature, it becomes a portal to celebrate and reflect and introspect on that interconnectedness. That's why in the pictures, all these elements which live a separate life in our world are intertwined, are existing together. These are the phylogenetic trees, which science uses as a model to understand the origins of life, the source of all things, and is moving through this alignment, this coming together of multiple levels, elemental levels of water, air, earth, fire, and being harnessed as this deep and rich existence of this life. These are the deep sea creatures. In the darkest places, you will find creatures and sentient beings with their own light. They have their own flowers of light growing from their backs. This is a very big, long work. This is called Vrikshadutam, the message of the trees. This was to celebrate the various folklore, mythologies of trees, but incorporate a lot of botanical information, awareness of climate change, various other aspects which we sometimes may miss out when we tell stories. We use a lot of animal and natural world to speak about human issues, like swan being the soul or bird being the soul. But bird is not the soul and soul is not the bird, but it can coexist. Yet we may miss out on actually knowing how do birds learn to fly, how do they know where to fly, how to migrate from one place to another. And also the exploration of the soul itself, such an abstract idea. What is the journey of self-actualization? So this painting talks about various folklores associated with the trees and their botanical magic altogether. Small beings having their own reflective moment, just taking a moment, taking a piece, taking some peace, just quietness. A relaxed gaze, a meditative gaze. How tigers are so central to the ecology. They are the guardians of the forest. How animals and nature coexist in this beautiful relationship with each other. And then you have some very happy creatures as well, who are smiling very brightly. And beings who are in perfect state of harmony. All that music is flowing seamlessly through them. And although the big beings here are in a meditative state or in a state of just peacefulness, there are little beings like this bee, who are very happy. Little smiles which are sprinkled across this canvas. And as I said, this piece talks about the stories of the trees, from the mythological ones to everyday trees like mango, banana, the Himalayan trees, all kinds of trees. We pass them every day and we forget to pay our gratitude But we all have memories which are linked to the trees all across the globe. Everyone has something to say about a bird or a tree. And I think it's a very universal emotion we share, but we don't often celebrate it enough. So the intention is that through the paintings, through this work, we can move closer to that ecological bond and closer to that celebration of ecology, which we are. We are nature in so many beautiful ways. These are the star travelers and the meditators meditating on a wave of creation. The creation coming out. The pranics of Medhini. All of this will be put together as a book where the stories will come together. And Anubhav, thank you so much for putting this together. I know. So a collective thank you to you. It wouldn't have happened if Anubhav would not have sort of sparked a conversation because of which we ended up choosing something absolutely new instead of something which I usually am known for reasonably. And we both thought that it will be lovely to present works from new mythology altogether.
I want to say that hopefully it wouldn't be another 10 years of convincing before we get your next solo show.
Yeah, we hope so. We hope so.
We started working together in 2014, and since then, the whole discussion of a solo show has always been there.
And I think that it's, although it took a decade to bring this together, but there's something beautiful about this beginning being of something also which is very new. So I'm going to show you the last few works here. And this is a moment where things are getting created. All this helical form, the way energy moves through various worlds, manifesting different material forms. This is a moment where all of that is together, inseparable, and then it moves into its own divisible forms. And perhaps that's why all that interconnectedness lives in the seeds of realization as we move through this existence, this life. All of this is also very inspired from the deep sea creatures who live in the darkest places where light also doesn't reach and have their own illumination, their own bioluminescence. Almost as if stars and suns are still existing in those dark waters. And the same could be said about the mind. And when you take those dives and you find this relationship with the mind, the darkness becomes more nurturing. It becomes an enabler, it becomes a medium. And it is not that dark versus light, then it's a dance. And that's when you realize that the darkness of the world is very different. And tortoise is a symbol of five senses. In multiple mythologies, you will see a tortoise, especially in ancient Indian mythology, you'll see tortoise being used in multiple stories, many stories, because it can control all five senses. And if you can control all five senses, you make wise choices. These little elements are the seeds, various seeds of sounds. And those sounds are hovering in this atmosphere, immersed in this ocean around a very ancient earth called Medhini. These are the first star travelers, the first seekers who have learned from the alchemy of the earth to open their own hearts and find that sun within. And that's the conclusion of the story of this chapter, that our characters were looking for the sun, which sun to wake up. and they find that the first suns they should wake up before they move to another sun is the sun inside. That's the key to understand the next mysteries. This is called the nuclei weaver. As life has found its helical resonance and is going to translate itself into materiality. All the mysteries are there inside the seed. And we end with these two paintings where you have a little bit color now emerging in this universe. The auras of the world mothers is the first to appear. And you have these turquoise greens taking over. The soul is moving to the source. The sun's being birthed by the tortoise mothers. A little bit of that color coming in. And this is wisdom floating above the flow of existence, heavy but very light at heart, guiding the sun. Is the wisdom which guides the sun. Okay. So thank you everyone who joined in, and lots of gratitude to all who made it to the show, who enriched the place and enlivened it by their presence, conversation. The love I've received is extremely precious, very humbling, as I have been just repeating this over and over again because I truly mean it. And to all of you who joined in this virtual gathering as well, to see the works, your love means a world to me. And I hope that the journey continues a little further, and even I go further into the next realms of this mythology, this world of Medhini, the ancient earth, learning far many more lessons from the elephants, the mountains, from nature. Thank you so much for joining in. Lots and lots of love. I also want to thank everyone who made this exhibition possible, our entire team. Without you guys, it wouldn't be possible. And thank you. Lots of gratitude. All this comes from the earth and is offered to her back.